Welcome, everybody. This is Alan with Daily Armour of God. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. This is reading the Old Testament chronologically in 111 days. We're on day 10. Today we'll be continuing through Genesis, reading chapters 43 through 49. And if you recall what we read yesterday, we're at the part where Joseph saw his brothers come down to Egypt because there was a famine, and he is trying their hearts. He kept back one brother, and he told the rest, "Take your grain, go to your families, and bring forth the missing brother," because he wanted to see if they really would. He also wanted to see if their hearts have changed. He wanted to see if they would protect his younger brother and all this stuff. And so um, they went back, and when they got back, they saw that their money that they had brought with them to Egypt to purchase the grain was in their sacks. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, why is the money in the sacks? We thought we paid for it." So they're very afraid now, and also Jacob is apprehensive to send his youngest son with them down to Egypt because he was his technically his, I guess you could say, his second favorite son, because him and Benjamin and Joseph came from the same mother whom he loved, Rachel. So I guess he is kind of playing favorites, but so that's his youngest son. So obviously he's scared that something's going to happen because of what happened to Joseph. So anyway, this is a quick recap. I thought I would expand a little bit on it. So let's continue here. Genesis 43, verse 1. And the famine was sore in the land, and it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn. Remember, yesterday we talked about this. If you haven't had a chance, look up corn, the etymology of the word corn. It means grain. Because obviously, I mean, lots of people like to nitpick this, as I said yesterday, and say, "Oh, it should be translated as grain," but they don't know that the etymology for this is grain. So anyway, I'd like to see them make bread out of corn and see how that works out for them. Anyway, it's bread. It's made from grain. Corn comes from Korin, which is grain. So they'd eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt. Their father said to them, "Go again, buy us a little food." And Judah spake unto him, saying, The man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. And Israel said, Wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the men whether ye had yet a brother? And they said, The man asked us straitly of our state and of our kindred, saying, Is your father yet alive? Have ye another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, Bring your brother down? Yeah, that's a good point. Like they didn't know that they would be asked all these questions, and also they didn't know that it was Joseph, who was, the Lord of the land. Like, there's no possible way they could have known that. And just the fact that he is Lord of the land, like, they couldn't even comprehend that, like, how a slave could rise up to that rank without God's intervention. It would not never have happened. But so yeah, they're like, well, we didn't know he would ask us about you and about another brother. So we just answered him truthfully. And then, like, they also didn't know that he would ask them to bring his brother, so that's more reason for them to be truthful about it. So that's why Jacob, or Israel, remember, Israel is Jacob's new name that God gave him. So Jacob, or Israel, said, Why did you even tell them about me and my son? And they're like, Well, he asked us. And Judah said unto Israel his father, Send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou, and also our little ones. I will be surety for him. Of my hand shalt thou require him, if I bring him not unto thee, and set him before thee. Then let me bear the blame for ever. For except we had lingered, surely now we had returned this second time. And their father Israel said to them, If it must be so now, do this. Take the best fruits in the land of your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, a little honey, spices, myrrh, nuts, and almonds, and take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carried again in your hand. Peradventure it was an oversight. Take also your brother and arise, go again unto the man. And God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother and Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. Man, there's a lesson here in this one sentence, or this whole situation here of them talking. Um, you know, he's hesitant about sending Benjamin because he doesn't want to lose him. He's fearing, and he's also still grieving for Joseph. So he is apprehensive, but then he's like, okay, you know what? I'm sure he's trusting in God here. I'm sure he is. So this is a lesson for us. When something is grieving us or troubling us, and we don't want to do something because we're afraid, we must get past that. We're past that, and just do it, right? Leave it in God's hands, like he is leaving Benjamin in God's hands. That's why he finally submits to sending him, even though he's afraid of losing him. So that's a great lesson for us. We need to learn from this example. And whenever we're going through something like this, maybe not exactly like this, but similar situation where something is bothering us, and we're afraid of doing something, that we need to let it go and give it to God and trust in him and have faith in him. So, oh man, I just love these verses. There's so many lessons. If you look deeply enough, there's so many lessons we can learn and glean and apply to our lives. And when I hear about people saying like, oh, the Old Testament, there's no use reading it in today's world. Yes, there is. There's so many lessons. This is one of probably thousands of different lessons we can learn and apply to our lives. I mean, oh man, it would take me forever to list every single one. But there are so many, and that's why I think the Old Testament is worth reading um, in today's world. And as a Christian, it's worth reading. But I will say this on this note: not everything in the Bible can we apply to our lives, but there is so much we can. We need to use discernment and understanding, and things like that. So obviously, for example, here's my for example for that, like stuff applying something to our lives today. Like we wouldn't go around stoning people in today's world, so we wouldn't apply that to our lives, right? That's something that we wouldn't. But there's so many things, like I just said, about this whole example about trusting in God, giving up your fear and giving it to God and trusting in him. That is something we can apply to our lives. So there's many such cases like this in the Old Testament. Anyway, I kind of got off track there, but I just love some of these lessons in these scripture. So continuing on, and the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, bring these men home and slay and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. And the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid because they were brought into Joseph's house, and they said, because the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us and fall upon us and take us for bondmen and our asses. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house, and said, O sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food, and it came to pass when we came to the inn that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand, and the other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. Then he said, Peace be to you, fear not, your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money, and he brought Simeon out unto them. But Simeon was the one who stayed behind, and it's not mentioned how long he was there. Remember, they left him, and then they took the grain or the corn up back to Canaan, and it said time passed, and they used up all their grain. So it could have been years, who knows? But so they brought Simeon out. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave their asses provender. They made ready the present against Joseph came at noon. For they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And he asked them of their welfare, and said, Is your father well? The old man of whom ye spake, is he yet alive? And they answered, Thy servant our father is in good health, he is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son. So it's his true brother, 100%. I mean, they're all his brothers. Half brothers are still brothers. But this is like his full-on brother, full brother, and his only brother, really. Fully 100% his brother. And his mother's son, and said, Is this your younger brother of whom ye spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep. And he entered into his chamber and wept there. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, Set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one at another. They're like, can you imagine? They're like, how does he know how to set us by birth? Like, wow, that must have really freaked him out. And he took and sent messes unto them from before him, but Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. Genesis 44. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn money. And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. All right, so here's the real test coming up. So obviously he was excited to see Benjamin, but he still wasn't sure if his other brothers had truly changed. And here is the huge test for them all. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, and their asses, and when they were gone out of the city, and not yet far off, Joseph said unto his steward, Up, fall after the men, and when thou dost overtake them, say unto them, Wherefore have ye rewarded evil for good? Is not this in which my Lord drinketh, and whereby indeed he divineth? Ye have done evil in so doing. And he overtook them, and he spake unto them these same words. And they said unto him, Wherefore saith my Lord these words? God forbid that thy servant should do according to this thing. Behold, the money which we found in our sack's mouth we brought again unto thee out of the land of Canaan. How then should we steal out of thy Lord's house silver or gold? With whomsoever of thy servants it be found, both let him die, and we also will be my Lord's bondmen. And he said, Now also let it be according unto your words. He with whom it is found shall be my servant, and ye shall be blameless. Then they speedily took down every man's sack to the ground, and opened every man his sack, and he searched and began at the eldest, and left at the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they rent their clothes, and laded every man his ass, and returned to the city. And Judah and his brethren came to Joseph's house, for he was yet there, and they fell before him on the ground. And Joseph said unto them, What deed is this that ye have done? Wot ye not that such a man as I can certainly divine? And Judah said, What shall we say unto my Lord? What shall we speak? How shall we clear ourselves? God hath found out the iniquity of thy servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, both we and he also with whom the cup is found. And he said, God forbid that I should do so, but the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. And as for you, get you up in peace unto your father. Then Judah came near unto him and said, O my Lord, let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ears. And let not thine anger burn against thy servant, for thou art even as Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servant, saying, Have ye a father or a brother? And we say unto my Lord that we have a father and an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left his mother, and his father loveth him. And thou saidst unto thy servants, Bring him down unto me, that I may set mine eyes upon him. And we said unto my Lord, The lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father, his father would die. And thou saidst unto thy servants, Except your youngest come down with you, ye shall see my face no more. And it came to pass, when we came up unto thy servant, my father, we told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, Go again and buy us a little food. And we said, We cannot go down. If our youngest brother be with us, then we will go down. For we may not see the man's face, except our youngest brother be with us. And thy servant my father said unto us, Ye know that my wife bare me 2 sons. Surely the one went out from me, and I said, Surely he is torn in pieces, and saw him not since. And if ye take this also from me, and mischief befall him, ye shall bring down my grey hairs with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore when I come to thy servant my father, and the lad be not with us, seeing that his life is bound up in the lad's life, it shall come to pass, when he seeth that the lad is not with us, that he will die. And thy servant shall bring down the grey hairs of thy servant our father with sorrow to the grave. For thy servant surety became surety for the lad unto my father, saying, If I bring him not unto thee, then shall I bear the blame to my father forever. Now therefore I pray thee, let thy servant abide instead of the lad as a bondman to my lord, and let the lad go up with his brethren. For how shall I go up to my father, and the lad be not with me, lest peradventure I see the evil that shall come on my father? Wow. You can really see Judah here, right? It's Judah talking to Joseph. And Joseph, yeah, it's Judah. Judah is talking here to Joseph, and you can clearly see that he most likely feels guilty, but also that he cares for Benjamin and he cares for his father. So it seems that he does have a change of heart completely. So, and regret of what he did to Joseph. So that's what Joseph was trying to find out, if they have changed at all, and where their heart was. So it was kind of like a test to them. So moving on to Genesis 45. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him. And he cried, Cause every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. Yeah, so it was like a boiling point after he heard Judah speak there, and you can feel the emotion in these verses. So it was probably really hard for Joseph to keep it contained and keep his appearance and all that contained. So he sent everyone away and was like, okay, I'm going to expose myself to my brothers, let them know who I really am. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard. So even though they weren't in the room, he wept so loud that everyone heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. And Joseph said unto his brethren, Come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither, for God did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years hath famine been in the land. Oh yeah, okay. So it does tell us how long it was between them seeing him. So it was about 2 years that he kept Simeon, his brother, there in Egypt while they went back to Canaan. So, and there are yet 5 years in which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. So, yeah, remember the prophecy: 7 years of famine, 7 years of good, and then 7 years of famine. So they're only in year 2, and there's still 5 more years left to go. And God sent me before you to preserve you of posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. And he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Haste ye, and go up to my father, and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, God hath made me lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. Thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, thy children's children, and thy flocks and thy herds, and all that thou hast. And there will I nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that ye have seen, and ye shall haste and bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And after that his brethren talked with him. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brethren are come. And it pleased Pharaoh well, and his servants. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, Say unto thy brethren, This do ye, lade your beasts, and go and get you unto the land of Canaan. Take your father and your households, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt, and ye shall eat the fat of the land. This is amazing. Think about this. This is Pharaoh talking here to Joseph. Pharaoh is the ultimate ruler, but Joseph was the ruler. He was like governor, but Pharaoh was above him. But there was nobody else, above Joseph besides Pharaoh. So Pharaoh is like, yeah, bring your family down. Like, this is just so amazing. You can clearly see God's hand here because, wow, this, even though he is ruler and governor, Pharaoh's still like, yeah, this guy's great, and this guy's, his family, bring them down. Wow, just so amazing that all this is happening. Now thou art commanded, this do ye, take ye wagons out of the land of Egypt for your little ones, and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. So he's saying, like, you don't need to pack up all your stuff and your things. Yeah, don't regard it. There's more important things in life than your stuff. And that's so important to, something that we need to learn in today's world. There's so much more important things in life than stuff, right? All we really need is God. All we really need is the Bible and God and each other. So accumulating stuff is just not, an important thing in life. So it's important to some people, but they need to place their importance in other things and not worldly things. It's okay to have worldly things, but to place your importance on them is not good. We need to place our importance on the things above, and of seeing others saved and living our life for God. So that's why I really like this verse. Like, don't regard your stuff. And that's so true. Like, we shouldn't care about our stuff, like, that we accumulate in this life, because guess what? We can't take it with us when we die. So what's the point in placing our importance in it or trusting in our stuff? Trusting God. So anyway, he's just saying, yeah, don't worry about your stuff, because the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. And the children of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for the way. To all them he gave each man changes of raiment, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. And to his father he sent after this manner 10 asses laden with the good things of Egypt, and 10 she-asses laden with corn and bread and meat for his father by the way. So he sent his brethren away, and they departed. And he said unto them, See that ye fall not out by the way. And they went up out of Egypt, and came into the land of Canaan, unto Jacob their father, and told him, saying, Joseph is yet alive, and he is governor over all the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart fainted, for he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father was revived. And Israel said, It is enough. Joseph my son is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die. Amazing. Genesis 46. And Israel took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac. And God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again, and Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes. Oh, I love this. We see here a prophecy. He will go down. So he's going down with them, Jacob and all his family and his extended family, everything that he has. And he's like, I will also surely bring thee up again. And that is so true, right? Obviously, it's not in their time, because we see once they get to Egypt, 400 years pass, and a lot of things change in those 400 years. And God finally sends Moses, and through Moses and Aaron, they bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt into the land of Canaan, after so much trials and tribulations and things like that. But we know already, if you are familiar with that God does honor his promise. He always answers and honors his promises. So that's something that we can trust in as well. Any promise you see in the Bible, God will always make it come to pass. And we have to realize it's not in our timing that he'll make it come to pass. He'll make it come to pass in his timing. So we need to have fervent faith and keep waiting on him. So I love that verse because he's like, surely I will bring thee up again, meaning him and his family, his descendants. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle, their goods, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him. His sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him into Egypt. So everyone, it's repeating because it's reiterating everyone, all his seed, everyone came with him to Egypt. And these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt, Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, the sons of Reuben, Hanok and Palu and Hezron and Carmi, and the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zohar and Shaul, the son of a Canaanitish woman. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And the sons of Judah, Er and Onan, and Shelah, and Pharez, and Zerah. But Er and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Pharez were Hezron and Hamul. And the sons of Issachar, Tola, and Puvah, and Job, and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Sered, and Elon, and Jalil. These be the sons of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob in Padan Aram, and his daughter, with his daughter Dinah. All the souls of his sons and his daughters were 33. The sons of Gad, Ziphion and Haggai, Shuni and Ezbon, Eri and Arodi and Arli. And the sons of Asher, Jimnah and Ishua and Isui and Bariah and Sarah, their sister. And the sons of Bariah, Heber and Malkiel. And these are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah his daughter. And these she bare unto Jacob, even 16 souls. And the sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. And unto Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bare unto him. And the sons of Benjamin were Bela and Becher and Ashbel, Gera and Naaman, Ehi and Rosh, Mupim and Hupim and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel, which were born to Jacob. All the souls were 14. And the sons of Dan, Hushim. And the sons of Naphtali, Jazeel and Guni and Jezer and Shillem. These are the sons of Bilhah, which Laban gave unto Rachel his daughter, and she bare these unto Jacob, and all the souls were 7. All the souls that came with Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, besides Jacob's sons' wives, all the souls were 66. All the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came to Egypt, were 70. And he sent Judah before him unto Joseph, to direct his face unto Goshen. And they came into the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot, and went up to meet Israel his father to Goshen, and presented himself unto him. And he fell on his neck, and wept on his neck a good while. I would imagine, right? And Israel said unto Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen thy face, because thou art yet alive. And Joseph said unto his brethren, and unto his father's house, I will go up and show Pharaoh, and say unto him, My brother and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me. And the men are shepherds, for their trade hath been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you, and shall say, What is your occupation? That ye shall say, The servant's trade hath been about cattle, from our youth even until now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. Yeah, so they were shepherds. That's why he's telling him to say that you worked with cattle, because of the stigma, I guess, with shepherd, according to the Egyptians. So Genesis 47. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh, and said, My father and my brethren and their flocks and their herds and all that they have are come out of the land of Canaan. And behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto them, What is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, Thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our father. So they ended up telling him the truth. which is always good. Always tell the truth, even if it hurts, even if it might hurt somebody or it might hurt you. You should always tell the truth. The truth shall set you free, right? And it's way better to tell the truth because then you'll have to keep track of lies that will eventually be exposed, right? All lies will eventually be exposed in time. So why not just be truthful? Even if it hurts, we need to be truthful. And they said moreover unto Pharaoh, For to sojourn in the land are we come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, Thy father and thy brethren are come unto thee. The land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen let them dwell. And if thou knowest any men of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle. And Joseph brought in Jacob his father, and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Jacob, How old art thou? And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, The days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren, and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, and the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. So, yeah, it's not just like, oh, yeah, they came and they were in Egypt just, somewhere. No, they were in the best of the land at that time. So that's just another amazing thing. You can see God's hand all over all of this story, and it's amazing. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their families. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. And Joseph said, Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle, if money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for asses. And he fed them with the bread for all their cattle for that year. And when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, We will not hide it from my lord, how that our money is spent. My lord also hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my lord, but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we in our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, and the land be not desolate. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, and for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them from cities, from one end of the borders of Egypt, even to the other end thereof. Only the land of the priests brought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their lands. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day, and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the fifth part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for the seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for the food of your little ones. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions therein, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the whole age of Jacob was 147 years. And the time drew nigh that Israel must die, and he called his son Joseph, and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt. But I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in the burying place. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. And he said, Swear unto me. And he sware unto him. And Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head. Genesis 48. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, Behold, thy father is sick. And he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Jacob and said, Behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, and said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful, and multiply thee. And I will make thee of thee a multitude of people, and I will give this land to thy seed after thee for an everlasting possession. And now thy 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. And thy issue which thou begettest after them shall be thine, and shall be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. And as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan in the way, when yet there was but a little way to come unto Ephrath, and I buried her in the way of Ephrath, the same as Bethlehem. And Israel beheld Joseph's sons, and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom God hath given me in this place. And he said, Bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see, and he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, God hath showed me also thy seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, God, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them in the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, In thee shall Israel bless, saying, God make thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said unto Joseph, Behold, I die, but God shall be with you, and bring you again unto the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite, with my sword and with my bow. In Genesis 49. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I might tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed. Then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch. So, if you recall, this is kind of gross, but yeah, Reuben was the firstborn of Israel, of Jacob. And later on in life, he took his father's, I guess, concubines and slept with her because he wanted Jacob to love his mother, which was Leah. So that was kind of like a way to, like, make it so Jacob would love Leah. So anyway, that's what it means. You went up to thy father's bed, right? And defiled it. Simon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly in mine honor. Be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man, and their self-will they digged down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be the neck of thine enemies, and thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, his teeth white with milk. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Issachar is as strong as couching down between two burdens. And as he saw, and he saw that rest was good in land, that it was pleasant, and he bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path, and that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind let loose, he giveth goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. Blessings of thy father prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. And they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf, in the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it that their father spake unto them, and blessed them, every one according to his blessing he blessed them. And he charged them, and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people, bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for possession of a burying place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that therein was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed, and yielded up the ghost, and was gathered unto his people. All right, so that was the end of Jacob, but it's not the end of Israel. Even though Jacob, aka Israel, is dead now, there's still a lot more to Israel, the nation, the people. So amazing stuff. I love the whole story of Joseph, Jacob. I love these stories so much, and there's so much to unpack and to learn. And they're just inspiring and amazing stories that should help us with our walk day to day with God. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great evening, morning, noon, wherever you're at. Remember to put God first in everything you do. Have faith in Him, trust in Him, wait upon Him, and be in the Word daily. You'll never be sorry. And God willingly, we'll see you tomorrow with more Bible reading. So, thanks again. Take care, and God bless. We'll see you later.